Hello, sisters. This is Sister Raven, and today I'm gonna continue talking about my experience on a really ugly marriage that I was into it, and my experience as a single mom, and how hard it is if you are a single mom to go back to work, especially if you took a big break being a stay-home mom and wife. So, first of all, let me tell you that if you are in a marriage, being a stay home mom, you don't work, you are depending on the income of your husband, you are gonna be willing to live under his conditions and you are giving up all your power. Okay, so you are gonna be cooking and cleaning every day and taking care of his things because most of the time the men don't cooperate with the house, most of the times. There are men who have their shit together and they totally do, but be honest, most of them they don't, especially if they have to take care of the household bills and all that. They will take that as an excuse to make you feel like your work in the house and that your contribution in the household and raising the kids is nothing because you don't get paid for that. So in their views, they know that the household work is a lot, yet they always diminish it. It's totally underrated. Okay. And they always tell you like, oh, you complain a lot, but you are here at home, you do nothing. Well, if cleaning the house, cooking, doing the dishes, doing your laundry, and like taking care of the kids is nothing, well, oh my god, then why you don't do it? Okay, well, anyways, on top of all that, sister, let me tell you that you are giving up all your power and you are now under his rule. If he decides that he's not gonna give you anything, he's not gonna give you anything. He will always make you feel like you have to earn it. At least in my experience, that's what happened to me. And he was even making like really ugly jokes, very debasing jokes. Like, for example, if one day he got me a lipstick from the drugstore, not even like a high-end up brand or like a like designer brand. No, I'm talking about a cheap $5 lipstick from the drugstore. He was making me pay for it. He was telling me, okay, I want to have sex tonight, even if I was tired or I didn't feel like. He was like, hey, you have to pay me for that lipstick that you got today. And that happened in different occasions. Every time that I needed shoes, whatever, it was when my shoes had holes on it. It's not that I was asking for Louis Vuitton or Nikes or whatever. I was getting the cheapest, lowest of them all because he was telling me that we didn't have money. Yet he was getting brand new shoes, of course, because he was telling me that he needed them for work, or because he was telling me that he was the one working for that, making the money. So obviously he deserves those things. And I was thinking, okay, yeah, he's right, I am not making any money, so yeah, he deserves those things. I don't, because I don't making any money. So that's how I was feeling. He was making me feel like that. And I was getting the cheapest shoes you could imagine. Most of the time they were used from Goodwill or thrift stores, and even then he was telling me, oh my gosh, those are so expensive, like if I was asking for something better. And same with the clothes. I was getting used clothes all the time. I never got like brand new clothes. And even when that happened, I had to beg him for things. There were some times that he was telling me that I couldn't have all those things, and I was feeling really bad. And that's the reality, sister. So if you are in a marriage like that, you are totally depending on whatever he wants to give you. Okay, you will have to eat whatever food he decides to buy or invest. He will not care if you want to do like a clean diet or whatever. I mean, because for that you need money. You need to spend more money if you want to get quality foods, and that's the reality. The cheaper the food, the lower quality it is, like full of sugar and full of unhealthy things. So if you want to lose weight, or you are not feeling well with the food that you are eating, and you want to change your lifestyle and you want to change your eating habits, it's going to be hard if the man doesn't agree with it. Okay, and I want to tell this is my experience, and this is what happened, and like the experience of many other women, because obviously there are men out there who understand this and they are totally generous and they will understand this, but not all of them. I am just talking about those men who like to dominate the women in the marriage and who want a slave, not a partner. Those men who don't care about that. Those men who feel entitled, feel like you owe them just for being married to them. Those men who don't appreciate what you are giving or what you are bringing to the marriage. So, sister, be careful. Be aware of all those things, because if you give up all your power, it's gonna be really hard to get it back. It's possible, it's doable. I did it, but it's costing me hell. And I will share my experience about that, about how I go back to work and how hard it is, because it's really hard. It has been super, super hard for me to get back to work and being a single mom, taking care of my kid in my free day. I only have one free day a week. Sometimes I don't have a free day because I get as many works as I can. Because I'm saving money, I need to get an apartment at least with two rooms, and it's really hard. It's really, really hard to pay for rent and food by yourself, and on top of that, having a kid and pay for everything 11-year-old needs is not that easy. It's super hard. It's hell if you are alone, sister. It's very, very hard. So what I was saying earlier is like I wasn't entitled to have anything. I was getting the minimum, and it's sad, all those things really it gets you. I was really depressed. I was feeling ugly and not loved, and he was telling me all the time that when I told him that I didn't want to live with him anymore for all those reasons, and that I didn't want to keep cooking and doing his laundry, he immediately started to threaten me with kicking me out of the house, and with sending me back to Mexico. He was threatening me with taking my son away from me. And seriously, I mean, it was like a lot of psychological pressure. Imagine myself living out in the streets, because he told me like I was going to live in the streets because I don't have any friends, I don't have any family here. And oh my gosh, it was really, really sad. He told me that like if I didn't want to stay married to him and being his slave, that he was going to kick me out. And I didn't he was like, oh, where are you gonna go? You don't have anywhere to go. He was taking advantage of all that power he had over me. He was threatening me. And the reality is there are some organizations that help women that are being abused, financial abuse or whatever, but when you ask for help, They tell you that they have a wait list, like they give priority to women who are being sexually abused in their marriage, because that's a reality that exists, or for women who had cases or who are experienced other kinds of abuse, like drugs, like their partner is a drug addict, or their partner are abusing their kids, stuff like that. So it wasn't my case. My case was more like psychological and financial abuse. So it's awful, but it's not that awful if you consider that there are women who had it worse than you, and they are trapped in those marriages and they can get out because they don't have the money, they don't have a job, they don't have family. They thought like living in a different country was going to be better for them, but it's not. It's not, sister. It's really hard. So, and let me tell you about this experience I mentioned in a previous video that I made. This man told me that he was living in this city, and when I moved here without knowing, it wasn't. He was living in a suburb way far away from the city he told me he was living. I don't want to give up my location, but it's one of the most, or close, well, like a couple hours away from one of those important cities in United States. But he lied to me, and I believe in him. But it was already too late when I moved here. Anyway, so men will lie to you to get what they want. And if you ask me what benefits I had, well, I don't. I lost my career. I lost my house to move here in a place where I am starting over, making minimum wage with no experience, dealing with people who, it's hard. It's hard to work with people who are not your same heritage or your same race and all that. It's hard. Not everybody, of course. There is nice people here who have showed me empathy and love, but all my friendships, all the people who can really, really help me if they were here, they are not. They are living in Mexico. So I am alone and I am starting over. And it takes a lot of courage to do that, because I was so scared. I am still scared because I am not that young anymore. I feel like I was trapped in this marriage for so long, and I got nothing. So this man, he took his now girlfriend for vacations. Well, he has taken his girlfriend for vacations, while me and my son will stay here with the very basic things. He's living the great life with this woman, and we have nothing. We don't own a house. We don't have a property. But he doesn't care, He's just planning how he's gonna move to whatever and doing his life with this woman. He doesn't care what is gonna happen to me and his son. He really don't. So seriously, sister, if you get in a situation like this, be aware and make your mind and try to figure out how are you gonna fix your life. You will have no option but to start working again and get the work that you can and start working again, unless you have a career or unless you have a valid career in this country. Because if you went to college or you went to school in a different country, if it's not a first world country, oh, God help you, really, because it's gonna be hell. Be aware of that. And even if you have a degree in your country, sometimes going back to your country is not an option, because your kid already was born here. And if you have nowhere to go in your country, I don't have parents who can support me and give me a place to stay. All my friends have like really hard or difficult living situations, they cannot offer me a place to stay. So that's not an option, because people tend to tell you that, oh, why don't you go back to Mexico then? If you are a doctor there, why you don't go back there? Because it's not easy, it's probably hard. Keep in mind that I have a kid. So if I were by myself, that would be probably easier, because I can stay wherever. I can stay in the street, I don't care. But with a kid, it's hard. It's really, really hard, because now you don't only have to take care of yourself, you have to take care of a kid, and you have to raise him, So what are you gonna do? Well, I'm working a minimum wage work. I don't drive, so I spend a lot of time, or I waste a lot of time in public transportation, and the distance is ridiculous. I don't have anybody who teach me how to drive. Paying for driving lessons is really expensive, so I am saving little by little to pay that. Is really hard. It's one of my goals, to learn how to drive and get a cheap car, so I save some time and I can use that time to sleep or to be with my kid, because it's ridiculous. I spend like 4 hours just in transportation going back and forth from my work. And that's another thing that nobody tells you. Everybody thinks that it's super easy to go back to work. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of your energy and time if you don't know how to drive, or if you don't have a vehicle, because not everybody has the luxury, right? There are a lot of things to consider. There are a lot of things that nobody tells you. How hard it is to get back on your feet. It's doable. I want to give you a little bit of hope, but also I want to tell you that all that marriage scam, or all that marriage fairy tale, it doesn't exist. Okay, it doesn't. So maybe for the minimum percentage, right, of women, they have like a really great life and they have a really great partner, but the majority, the men, don't care. They will cheat on you, they will leave you, they don't care, they will leave you alone with the kid. Okay. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna talk more about how men are very easy to detach from their kids, and the women that they basically destroy your life. I mean, a man can destroy your life, and I believe like that happened to me. Of course, like I said before, I accept my responsibility, but I also think like a lot of it is because I had a really bad experience in a marriage, and a lot of my friends that are in Mexico are like single moms, and they are like having a hard time like me. Okay, so if you are smart, please think about it. Don't get into a marriage if you don't secure your bag first. That's the most important thing. Don't ever think about leaving your career or leaving your work for a man. Don't do that, sister. Really don't. It doesn't worth it. It's gonna be hard for you to get back on your feet if you leave everything for a man, and if you put all your life on the hands of a man. Okay, not only because he can leave you, or if you are giving him kids and he just leaves, not only because that he can die, and then what are you gonna do? Really, there are things that nobody tells you, things like we don't think, but that happen. Okay, so there is this whole movement about decentering men, and I think that's a really great movement, and it's really important that the women keep talking about it. It's really important to warn younger generations and show them the reality of a marriage or a partnership. I don't even know what is worse, like to get with a man, like move in and live with them without any contract whatsoever. Although, like, even if you move with a man and have a contract, like a marriage contract, you don't win anything unless the man has a lot of money and a lot of assets. And even though it's a hard battle, because divorces are hard and men want to, like, give you nothing, right? So be careful, sister. Be aware of all that. And I'll talk to you soon. This is Sister Raven, and I just want you to be smarter than me. I want you to be strong, and I want to create a community of women who support each other. Okay, I don't want to feel alone anymore. Okay, I'll talk to you soon, sisters. Bye.